For 3 straight seasons, Arsenal have finished as runners-up in the Premier League. It's a feeling that cuts both ways. Pride in pushing for the title, yet bitterness in watching it slip away at the final hurdle. The 2024-25 campaign ended with the same heartbreak. Arsenal stumbling in the decisive stretch, left once again to watch their rivals lift the trophy. The reasons felt all too familiar. Injuries, a relentless schedule, and a lack of depth. That's why the true solution had to come in the transfer market, the place where almost must finally turn into champions. What made this summer different was the arrival of Andrea Berta, the new sporting director. At Atletico Madrid, he had built a reputation as the silent architect behind clever, cost-effective signings that elevated the club to Europe's elite. Now, alongside Mikel Arteta, Arsenal may have found the perfect pairing. A manager with a clear philosophy and a transfer mastermind capable of making it real. This could be the turning point in the Gunners' climb to the very top. Fast forward, the transfer window has closed. But to truly measure Arsenal's ambition, let's rewind to the beginning. Let's compare the targets they had set with the players they actually managed to bring in and see whether this was a summer that lived up to the hype. From the very start of June, the top priority was clear: a striker. For years, Arsenal have lacked that world-class number 9, the type of forward who can decide a match with a single moment. Missing out on such a signing in back-to-back windows had already cost them dearly. They had hesitated over Ollie Watkins' price tag before, but this summer there was no room for hesitation. The shortlist soon narrowed to 2 prime names: Benjamin Šeško of RB Leipzig and Viktor Gyökeres, the prolific Sporting Lisbon striker. Both still young, both equipped with ruthless finishing and intelligent movement, the exact qualities Arsenal have been desperate for. Yet, negotiations dragged on, leaving fans waiting nervously, wondering whether this was finally the year the Gunners would strike decisively. If the striker question still lingered, the midfield seemed to have found at least part of its answer. From as early as May, reports suggested that Martin Zubimendi, the midfield anchor of Real Sociedad, was on his way to the Emirates. With Jorginho preparing to move on, Arsenal needed a controller, someone who could shield the defense, dictate tempo, and keep the ball moving with elegance. Zubimendi ticked every box. Meanwhile, the wide areas gave Mikel Arteta another headache. Raheem Sterling's short loan from Chelsea had come to an end, and while Ethan Nwaneri remains one of Arsenal's brightest prospects, he's still not ready to shoulder the responsibility of rotating with Bukayo Saka. A long season can't be carried on the legs of just one star. Arsenal needed a winger capable of playing both flanks, someone who could provide competition as well as depth. Early on, Nico Williams of Athletic Bilbao emerged as the frontrunner. His blistering pace, flair, and explosiveness had already caught the eye of Europe's giants. But his transfer fee and wage demands posed a major obstacle. Arsenal also explored the possibility of Rodrigo at Real Madrid and Anthony Gordon at Newcastle, though both fell firmly into the difficult and expensive category. And so, the pressing question remained unanswered. Who would be Saka's backup? Behind the attack, even the goalkeeping department demanded attention. David Raya's distribution, while solid, still wasn't at the level Arteta craved. Arsenal had tracked Joan Garcia of Espanyol closely, but the young Spaniard chose Barcelona instead. That left the club once again scanning the market for a keeper. Young, quick in reflexes, but most importantly, comfortable in Arteta's philosophy of the goalkeeper as the 11th outfield player. At the back, injuries remained a lurking threat. William Saliba and Gabriel formed one of the most reliable defensive pairings in the league, but the system wobbled dangerously whenever either was absent. That's why the search for a young centre-back, one who could serve both as cover now and as a long-term successor, was so crucial. Arsenal had already missed out on Vitor Rice and Dean Huijsen, but their scouting mission for hidden gems continued. And with Andrea Berta's philosophy, you never know. A modest signing today could quietly grow into a cornerstone of the future. What haunted Mikel Arteta most last season wasn't just the fine margins at the top of the table, it was the lack of depth. He admitted it himself. Arsenal simply didn't have enough players during the crucial stage of the season. The fixture list grew brutal, injuries piled up, and the Gunners gradually lost their edge. The same core players were forced to grind through game after game, their legs heavy, their sharpness dulled. It was a painful lesson, and that's why this summer's mission wasn't only about landing a couple of stars. It was about widening the squad, making sure Arteta had the tools to rotate without fear of a drop in quality. So when the transfer window closed, who did Arsenal actually bring in? The first signing of this new era was Kepa Arrizabalaga from Chelsea for just £5 million, a deal both economical and pragmatic. At 30, Kepa offers Arsenal something more valuable than potential: genuine competition for David Raya. He's the type of experienced keeper who can step in for cup games or even take over if Raya falters. With Kepa around, the goalkeeper position is no longer a nagging concern. Midfield, where Arsenal suffered most last season, was reinforced with two strategic additions: Martin Zubimendi and Christian Mosquera. At 26, Zubimendi is exactly the number 6 Arteta has been searching for: solid defensively, composed in possession, and able to dictate the flow of a match. The £56 million fee is hefty, but in return, Arsenal now have a midfielder widely seen as the missing piece in their spine for years to come. Alongside him, Brentford's former captain Mosquera arrived for £15 million. At 31, he's not a long-term project, but a reliable, battle-tested option to rotate and share the load with Zubimendi across a grueling season. Together, they form a balance, one in his prime, the other seasoned and steady. And if midfield now inspires confidence, the defense looks just as secure. Arsenal landed Christian Mosquera and Piero Hincapié to shore things up. Mosquera, only 21, is viewed as the ideal understudy and eventual successor to William Saliba. After over 20 appearances for Valencia, the young Spaniard already looks far beyond his years, and the Arsenal environment could take his game to the next level. Meanwhile, Hincapié arrived on loan from Bayer Leverkusen, offering a dependable option on the left side of defense. Strong, athletic, and stylistically similar to Gabriel, he adds depth, competition, and a safety net to a backline that has often walked the tightrope of injury risk. On the attacking front, Arsenal finally made the decisive move fans had long demanded, signing a genuine world-class striker. Viktor Gyökeres arrived from Sporting Lisbon for £55.3 million, a fee that could rise to £64.1 million with add-ons. The Swedish forward lit up Portugal and Europe last season, and he wasted no time making his mark in the Premier League. In his very first appearances, Gyokeres struck a brace against Leeds United, a statement that Arsenal had found the ruthless finisher they had craved since the days of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. At last, Mikel Arteta had a true number 9, someone capable of deciding matches in a single moment. But the reinforcements didn't stop there. On the right flank, where Bukayo Saka had been forced to shoulder an unbearable workload for 3 straight seasons, Arsenal brought in Noni Madueke. For £48.5 million from Chelsea, they secured a winger blessed with pace, dribbling ability, and the versatility to play on either side. Madueke isn't just a backup, he's direct competition, pushing Saka to remain at his peak while finally giving Arsenal the rotation option they so desperately lacked in recent years. On the left wing, inconsistency from Gabriel Martinelli had been a recurring frustration for supporters. To solve that problem, Arsenal splashed £60 million on Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace, a signing that stung rivals Tottenham, who thought they had him secured. Eze brings flair, creativity, and the ability to play both wide and centrally as an attacking midfielder. His dribbling and imagination promise to give Arsenal the balance they've so often lacked whenever opponents successfully shut down Saka. Put it all together, and you see the full picture of Arsenal's summer: a seasoned goalkeeper to push and rotate with David Raya, 2 defensive midfielders, one young, one experienced, for balance and rotation, a young centre-back in Mosquera alongside Hincapié to instantly deepen the defence, a reliable winger in Madueke to ease Saka's burden, a creative force in Eze to refresh the left side, and above all, a marquee striker in Gyokeres to redefine the attack. From the days when "No to Madueke" trended across social media in mid-July, to now when not a single Arsenal fan feels underwhelmed, this transfer window has become nothing short of historic. Arsenal supporters are used to dreaming big only to be disappointed. But this summer feels different. Every signing has a clear purpose. Every position has been strengthened with intent. And so the Gunners enter the 2025-26 season with a balanced, deep, and determined squad. A version of Arsenal built not to finish second again, but to finally conquer.